We often search for complex solutions to our emotional struggles, overlooking the simple daily habits that slowly drain our well-being. The ancient Stoics understood that our mental health is largely shaped by our daily routines and thought patterns. Today, we'll explore 6 common habits that might be feeding your depression and how Stoic wisdom offers a path toward healing and resilience in our modern, chaotic world. Habit 1. Dwelling on negative thoughts traps you in a cycle of despair. Each morning, you wake up with a choice to focus on what's wrong or what's right in your life. The habit of dwelling on negative thoughts is perhaps the most insidious contributor to depression. It's like digging a hole that gets deeper with each worried thought, each regret, each fearful projection into the future. The Stoics recognized this pattern thousands of years ago. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This profound insight reveals the power we have over our mental state. When we constantly rehearse negative scenarios or replay painful memories, we're training our minds to see the world through a darkened lens. This habit creates what psychologists now call cognitive distortions, thinking patterns that reinforce depression. You might find yourself catastrophizing small setbacks, dismissing positive experiences, or personalizing random events. Over time, these thought patterns become automatic, requiring no conscious effort. Your brain begins to search for evidence that confirms your negative worldview while filtering out contrary information. The Stoics offered a powerful antidote to this habit, the practice of mindful awareness. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This isn't about forced positive thinking or denying reality. It's about recognizing that you have the ability to observe your thoughts without becoming entangled in them. When you catch yourself spiraling into negative thoughts, pause, take a breath. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is it based in reality? Is there another way to see this situation? The simple act of questioning your thoughts creates space between you and them. This space is where your freedom lies. Another Stoic practice is to deliberately contemplate worst-case scenarios, not to indulge fear, but to remove its power. Seneca advised, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" By facing our fears directly, we often find they lose their grip on us. The habit of dwelling on negative thoughts also robs us of the present moment, the only time we can actually take action to improve our lives. When we're lost in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future, we miss the opportunities for joy and growth that exist right now. Start small. Set aside 5 minutes each day to notice your thought patterns. Don't judge them. Simply observe. With practice, you'll develop the ability to redirect your attention from unproductive rumination to constructive action. As you build this mental muscle, you'll find yourself naturally gravitating toward thoughts that serve your well-being rather than undermine it. Remember the Stoic view that emotions arise from our judgments about events, not from the events themselves. By changing how you interpret your experiences, you change how you feel about them. This doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent practice, you can break free from the cycle of negative thinking that feeds depression. Habit 2. Measuring your life against others steals your joy. In today's hyper-connected world, we're constantly bombarded with carefully curated highlights of other people's lives. Social media platforms have turned comparison into a daily habit that slowly poisons our contentment. Each scroll through your feed becomes an opportunity to feel inadequate, behind, or somehow lacking in your own journey. The Stoics, though they lived long before Instagram or Facebook, understood the human tendency to compare and the suffering it causes. Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." This wisdom reminds us that each person's path is unique with its own timeline and challenges. When we measure our unfiltered reality against someone else's edited highlights, we create unnecessary suffering. This habit of comparison often manifests in subtle ways. You might feel a pang of envy when a colleague gets promoted. You might question your parenting when you see another family's perfect vacation photos. You might doubt your lifestyle choices when you see acquaintances purchasing new homes or cars. Each comparison chips away at your appreciation for your own life and circumstances. What makes this habit particularly destructive is that it's based on incomplete information. You see outcomes without witnessing the struggles, sacrifices, and unique circumstances that led to them. You compare your beginning to someone else's middle, your challenges to someone else's victories. Epictetus taught, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This perspective shifts our focus from external achievements to internal values. Instead of measuring success by societal standards, money, status, appearance, we can define it by our adherence to personal values like courage, justice, and wisdom. The Stoic practice of focusing on what's within your control offers an escape from the comparison trap. Your choices, efforts, and responses are within your control. The timing of your success, the genetic lottery, economic conditions, and others' opinions are not. When you direct your energy toward what you can control, you reclaim your power from the comparison habit. Another powerful Stoic technique is to practice gratitude for what you already have. Marcus Aurelius suggested, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This practice grounds you in the abundance present in your life rather than the perceived lack when comparing yourself to others. The comparison habit often triggers what psychologists call conditional happiness, the belief that you'll be happy once you achieve certain milestones or acquire certain possessions. This mindset perpetually postpones your happiness, keeping it just out of reach. The Stoics would argue that happiness is available now through your approach to life rather than your circumstances. To break this habit, try a digital detox, limit social media use, and notice how your mood changes. When you do engage online, do so mindfully, remembering that you're seeing highlight reels, not reality. Redirect comparison energy towards self-reflection. Are you making progress on your own unique path? Are you living according to your values? Remember that the only truly meaningful comparison is between who you are today and who you were yesterday. As you gradually shift from external comparison to internal growth, you'll reclaim the joy that comparison steals. Habit 3. Ignoring your physical and mental health deepens depression. The body and mind exist in constant conversation. When we neglect our physical health, our mental well-being suffers, and vice versa. This interconnection was well understood by the Stoics, who advocated for a balanced approach to life that included proper care for the body. Neglecting physical health has become all too common in our busy modern lives. We skip meals or eat processed foods for convenience. We sacrifice sleep to meet deadlines or scroll through social media. We remain sedentary for hours, moving only from desk to couch. We push through stress without allowing our bodies and minds to recover. Each of these choices might seem small in the moment, but their cumulative effect can significantly deepen depression. The Stoic philosopher Musonius Rufus taught, "We should not value the body more than the soul, nor should we neglect the body completely in favor of the soul. For while the soul is more divine, we exist as human beings made up of both body and soul." This balanced view acknowledges our physical nature without overemphasizing it. Sleep deserves special attention in the context of depression. Even one night of poor sleep can affect your mood, cognition, and emotional regulation. Chronic sleep deprivation creates a fertile ground for depressive symptoms. The Stoics practiced simple living with regular sleep schedules, understanding that rest is not a luxury, but a necessity for sound judgment and emotional resilience. Physical movement is another crucial factor. Exercise releases endorphins, increases blood flow to the brain, and promotes neuroplasticity, all beneficial for fighting depression. The Stoics valued simplicity in exercise, focusing on natural movements rather than complicated regimens. Even a daily walk, which Seneca recommended for clearing the mind, can significantly impact your mental health. Nutrition also plays a vital role in brain health. The foods we eat provide the building blocks for neurotransmitters that regulate mood. The Stoics advocated for moderation in eating, not just for physical health, but for mental clarity. They understood that overindulgence in food or alcohol clouds the mind and disrupts our emotional balance. Equally important is attending to your mental health directly. Many people delay seeking help for depression, trying to push through or dismissing their symptoms as personal weakness. This approach runs counter to Stoic wisdom, which emphasizes facing reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. If you're experiencing persistent symptoms of depression, seeking professional help is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom and self-care. Stress management is another aspect of mental health that cannot be overlooked. The Stoic practice of premeditation of adversity, mentally preparing for challenges, helps build resilience. Rather than being blindsided by stress, you can develop strategies to manage it effectively. Simple practices like deep breathing, mindfulness, or stepping outside for fresh air can interrupt the stress cycle before it overwhelms you. The Stoics also recognize the importance of meaningful rest, not just physical rest, but mental and emotional renewal. In our achievement-oriented culture, we often feel guilty for taking breaks, yet periods of rest and reflection are essential for processing emotions and gaining perspective on our lives. To break the habit of neglecting your health, start with small, sustainable changes. Add one vegetable to your daily meals. Establish a consistent sleep schedule. Take a 10-minute walk during your lunch break. Schedule a checkup with your doctor. Reach out to a mental health professional if you're struggling. Each small step honors the Stoic principle of self-care as a foundation for a well-lived life. Habit 4. Lack of natural light disrupts mood and energy levels. In our modern world, many of us spend the majority of our waking hours indoors under artificial lighting, disconnected from the natural cycles that governed human life for millennia. This separation from natural light is not just a departure from our evolutionary heritage. It's a habit that significantly impacts our mood and may contribute to depression. The Stoics, who lived closely with nature's rhythms, understood the importance of aligning with natural patterns. Seneca wrote, "We must indulge the mind, and from time to time give it the leisure that serves as its food and strength." For the Stoics, this often meant time outdoors, observing and connecting with the natural world as a source of wisdom and renewal. Sunlight plays a crucial role in regulating our circadian rhythm, the internal clock that influences sleep, hormone production, and numerous biological processes. When this rhythm is disrupted by insufficient natural light during the day, or too much artificial light at night, our mood regulation systems can falter. This disruption is especially pronounced during winter months, in regions far from the equator, leading to seasonal affective disorder for many people. Exposure to natural light, particularly morning sunlight, triggers the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter closely linked to mood regulation. Without adequate sunlight, serotonin levels may drop, creating the neurochemical conditions that contribute to depression. Sunlight also helps our bodies produce vitamin D, which plays important roles in brain function and mood regulation. The quality of light matters as well. The blue-rich light of morning helps wake us up and set our internal clock, while the red-orange light of sunset signals our bodies to begin producing melatonin for sleep. Artificial lighting, especially from screens, lacks this natural variation and can confuse our biological systems. The Stoic practice of mindful awareness can be applied to our relationship with light. Notice how you feel on sunny days versus cloudy ones. Observe your energy levels after time spent outdoors versus a day entirely inside. This awareness alone can motivate changes to increase your exposure to natural light. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Dwell on the beauty of life, watch the stars, and see yourself running with them." This connection to natural cycles, day and night, the changing seasons, grounds us in something larger than our immediate concerns. When we feel part of these natural patterns, we gain perspective on our temporary troubles. Breaking the habit of light deprivation doesn't require dramatic lifestyle changes. Simple practices can significantly increase your exposure to natural light. Begin your day by opening curtains or blinds as soon as you wake up. Take your morning coffee near a window. Step outside for a brief walk during your lunch break, even on cloudy days when beneficial light still reaches you. If your work environment lacks natural light, consider taking short light breaks throughout the day. Even 5 minutes of outdoor time can help maintain your circadian rhythm. Position your desk near a window if possible. For those in northern climates during winter, a light therapy lamp can supplement natural light, providing the intensity needed to trigger serotonin production. Evening habits matter too. Reducing blue light exposure after sunset by using screen filters, dimming lights, or switching to warmer bulbs helps your body transition naturally towards sleep. The Stoics would appreciate this alignment with natural cycles as part of living in accordance with nature. For those working night shifts or living in regions with extreme light conditions, additional strategies may be necessary. Blackout curtains for daytime sleeping, strategic use of light therapy, and carefully planned outdoor time can help maintain mood and energy despite challenging circumstances. The Stoic virtue of temperance, moderation in all things, applies to our light exposure as well. Both too little and too much sunlight can be problematic. The goal is balance, sufficient natural light during waking hours and darkness during sleep hours, aligned with our biological needs. Habit 5. Cutting off social connections fuels loneliness. Humans are inherently social creatures. Our brains are wired for connection, and when we isolate ourselves, whether through busyness, fear of vulnerability, or protective withdrawal during depression, we remove a crucial support for mental health. This isolation often begins gradually, declining invitations, reducing communication, withdrawing from groups or activities. Before long, what started as temporary withdrawal becomes a habit that fuels depression. The Stoics, despite their emphasis on internal strength, recognized the importance of human connection. Seneca wrote extensive letters to friends, providing comfort and philosophical guidance. Marcus Aurelius began his meditations by expressing gratitude for the positive influences of various people in his life. The Stoic ideal was never isolation, but rather cultivating meaningful relationships while maintaining inner independence. Modern research confirms what the Stoics intuited: social connection is not a luxury, but a necessity for mental health. Studies show that chronic loneliness increases inflammation, disrupts sleep, raises stress hormones, and may be as damaging to physical health as smoking or obesity. These physical effects compound the emotional pain of isolation, creating a downward spiral that deepens depression. What makes social withdrawal particularly dangerous is that it often feels protective in the moment. When you're struggling with depression, interactions can seem exhausting. You might worry about burdening others with your problems or fear being misunderstood. The temporary relief of avoiding these challenges reinforces the withdrawal habit, even as it worsens your overall condition. The Stoic concept of oikeiosis, a natural affinity toward others, reminds us that connection is part of our nature. Hierocles, a Stoic philosopher, described humanity as a series of concentric circles, with the self at the center, then immediate family, extended family, community, and ultimately all of humanity. The Stoic goal was to draw these circles closer together through understanding and compassion. Breaking the habit of social isolation doesn't require becoming extroverted or maintaining dozens of friendships. Quality matters more than quantity. Research suggests that even 1 or 2 close, supportive relationships can significantly protect against depression. The key is authenticity and reciprocity connections, where you can be your true self and where care flows in both directions. Start with small steps to rebuild connection. Send a message to an old friend. Join a group based on a shared interest. Volunteer for a cause you care about. These activities provide structure for interaction and reduce the pressure of purely social encounters. Online communities can be valuable, especially for those with mobility limitations or social anxiety, though they work best as a complement to in-person connection rather than a replacement. The Stoic practice of shifting focus from self to others can be particularly helpful when breaking the isolation habit. When we're depressed, our attention often narrows to our own suffering. By deliberately considering others' needs or perspectives, we temporarily step outside our internal struggles. This doesn't mean ignoring your own needs, but rather finding balance through connection. Vulnerability is essential for meaningful connection, yet it's often what we fear most when depressed. The Stoics would view this fear as an opportunity to practice courage. Epictetus taught that we should not be ashamed of needing help. It is not shameful to be helped, for the deed is what matters, not whether you can do it without help. Allowing others to support you is not weakness, but wisdom. If social anxiety is a barrier to connection, the Stoic technique of breaking challenges into smaller parts applies well. Rather than aiming for extended social interactions, start with brief encounters. Practice small talk with a cashier. Attend an event with a clear end time. Each small success builds confidence for the next step. Remember that connection doesn't always require words. Shared activities, walking together, cooking a meal, listening to music, can create bonding without the pressure of constant conversation. These side-by-side experiences often feel more accessible when depression makes face-to-face interaction challenging. Habit 6. Mindless routines drain meaning from your days. Life easily slips into autopilot. Wake up, check your phone, commute, work, eat, watch TV, sleep, repeat. Days blend together. Weeks pass without memorable moments. This mindless routine, doing without thinking, acting without intention, creates a perfect environment for depression to flourish. Without meaning and purpose to anchor us, we drift in emotional currents, feeling increasingly disconnected from our own lives. The Stoics place tremendous value on mindfulness and intentional living. Epictetus instructed his students, "Make it your study, then, to confront every harsh impression with the words, 'You are but an impression, and not at all what you seem to be.'" This practice of examining our experiences rather than sleepwalking through them creates space for meaning even in ordinary moments. Mindless routine often begins innocently enough. Habits streamline our days, reducing decision fatigue. The problem arises when these habits operate without conscious choice, when we no longer question whether our actions align with our values. We find ourselves living a life we've fallen into rather than one we've chosen. The numbing effect of mindless routine manifests in various ways. You might feel that days are simultaneously dragging and flying by. You might struggle to remember what you did last week because nothing stood out from the blur. You might feel like you're watching your life rather than living it. These are warning signs that mindlessness has taken hold. The Stoics practiced daily reflection to counter this tendency. Seneca advised, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, aware of this habit that's now mine, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." This evening review creates accountability to yourself and helps identify where your actions may have drifted from your intentions. Breaking free from mindless routine doesn't require radical life changes. It begins with simple awareness. Notice the moments when you reach for your phone without thinking, when you eat without tasting, when you speak without considering your words. This awareness itself begins to weaken the grip of mindlessness. Marcus Aurelius practiced morning preparation alongside evening reflection. Begin the morning by saying to yourself, "I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial." This mental preparation wasn't pessimistic, but realistic, helping him respond deliberately to challenges rather than react automatically. Creating meaningful routines involves infusing ordinary activities with intention and attention. As you brush your teeth, really feel the sensation rather than letting your mind wander. As you prepare food, notice colors, textures, and smells. As you walk, observe your surroundings with curiosity. These small practices of presence accumulate, gradually replacing mindlessness with mindfulness. The Stoic emphasis on duty and virtue offers another antidote to meaningless routine. By connecting daily actions to larger values, justice, courage, wisdom, temperance, even seemingly mundane tasks take on significance. Cleaning your home becomes an expression of order and care. Work becomes service to others. Exercise becomes honoring your body's capabilities. Novelty also disrupts mindless patterns. Taking a different route home, trying a new food, or learning a new skill activates your brain in ways that routine doesn't. These novel experiences create memorable moments that stand out from the blur of sameness, giving texture and depth to your sense of time. Purpose provides the strongest defense against mindless living. The Stoics believed in living according to nature, which included fulfilling our uniquely human capacity for meaning-making and contribution. Reflect on what matters deeply to you. What would you regret not doing or being? How can your daily actions connect to these deeper values? Start small. Choose one daily activity to perform with full attention. Set reminders to pause and check in with yourself throughout the day. Create morning and evening rituals that bookend your day with intention. Gradually, these practices will transform your relationship with routine from mindless to mindful, from emptiness to meaning. The path to overcoming depression isn't found in grand gestures or radical transformations, but in the small, daily choices that shape our mental landscape. The Stoics understood this profound truth thousands of years ago, that our habits of thought and action determine the quality of our lives. By addressing these 6 habits, dwelling on negative thoughts, measuring your life against others, ignoring your health, lacking natural light, cutting off social connections, and living in mindless routines, you reclaim power over your emotional well-being. Remember that Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or denying pain. It's about engaging fully with life while maintaining inner strength. It's about accepting what you cannot change while taking responsibility for what you can. Each day offers new opportunities to practice these principles, to replace habits that deepen depression with those that cultivate resilience, meaning, and joy. The journey isn't always easy, but as Seneca reminds us, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. You have within you the capacity to face this challenge and emerge stronger than before.